him back, are they going to treat him, normally? Is Maggie going to be able to accept him?
Yeah, well, that's a big, a concern. But, I mean, Maggie's at the Hilltop Colony, and I assume she's probably going to stay there. So she may not be with him on a regular basis if Daryl does come. I assume Daryl would go back to Alexandria. But I imagine there would be some of them that would look at him a little differently. But I think also they would realize that, I mean, what he did was just an instinct that almost anyone would want to do to protect the people that they love. So he did show good restraint that night in the premiere episode, not like he's showing now in his prison cell.
Yeah, like I said, I just have a lot of respect for him to be sitting in a little 6x6 cell with no clothes on, eating dog food. I mean, that is like horrible. But, I was talking to my son, and my son said, he was probably eating worse out on the street, possum. Rat.
Yeah, well, did they eat a dog one time? They cooked it.
Yeah, the Dobermans, remember?
Yeah, they ate a dog, so, I don't
they ate multiple dogs. Remember, like, the 3 or 4 Dobermans came out to attack them? I almost started crying because I love Dobermans. They're my favorite kind of dogs, and I was almost in tears. I'm going to be honest with you because I was so... when I had saw that, I was...
Yeah, well, I love dogs, so I would have to really be starving to eat a dog.
Yeah, I don't...
I could eat the dog food before I could eat a dog.
I'm like confused on that one. So tomorrow, real quick, I'm gonna do a drop for you guys real quick. We have Desiree and Anissa with the lounge. So I'm gonna do this is Gabrielle Walsh. She's from the Vampire Diaries. So real quick drop for their show tomorrow. Make sure you check it out.
This is Gabrielle Walsh, and you are listening to The Lounge with Dee Marie Love and Anissa Nicole. This is Gabrielle Walsh, and you are listening to The Lounge with Dee Marie Love and Anissa Nicole.
That was Gabrielle Walsh. She's from the Vampire Diaries. She was on The Lounge a couple weeks ago, so I hope you were able to check that out. So if you didn't, the podcast is still available. You can go back and you could listen to it. So just wanted to throw that in there real quick. So let's move on to this past episode. And one of the disturbing things is one of the guys I've talked about since I met him. He's with Rosita, and he just seems like the corniest, most common sense just flew over his head or something. Because Negan knocks at the door and says, "Open up, little pig," whatever, little piggies or whatever, and the guy was starting to he wanted to start some kind of argument or something, or he was just behind in his brains or something, not to know who that was. So he goes, "Well, who are you?" And I'm like, is this guy a goof or did I miss something? Do you remember that part there? I mean, it was a frustrating part to me. That's why I brought it up.
I'm not sure what part you're talking about in the most recent episode.
In the most recent episode, Negan comes knocking at the gate, and he says, "Open up the door, little piggies," or whatever. And
Alexandria.
Yeah, at Alexandria. And Rosita's boyfriend, whatever you want to call him, this guy's irritated me for a long time. Is it Lucas? I think his name is Lucas. Lucas. I knew I had his name written down earlier. Well, anyway, he goes.
Eugene?
No, it's not. It's not Eugene. It's Rosita Spencer. It's Spencer. That's who it is. Thank you,
Spencer.
Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah. This guy is like totally. not very brainy. I mean, it's one of those guys that may have he may have some brains on his shoulder, but when it came down to it, his brains must have went somewhere else, because you don't sit there and say, well, who are you? Who are you? No, it just don't work like that. So it was pretty. It was either to start more of a fight, or to piss him off more, because this guy is like rebellion against Rick, like Rick's not a good leader or something, when he don't really know, because that guy's never had to go out and fight before.
Yeah.
He's never had to go out and fight before. So basically, to me, it was either idiotic, or he did that purposely to piss the guy off, to take it out on Rick. And either way, it's still not very bright, in my opinion.
No, well, obviously he has some bad feelings towards Rick, because he, questioned his leadership, and he's like, this is what Rick, has done for us. He's gotten us in this position.
No, to me, he's just one of those people who are not very bright, and they think that they could be in the position of leadership. And that's the way I feel about him. And I've thought about since his whole corny debut, I still feel the same way about him. I still feel he's kind of just a goofball, and after, I mean, he should have. I mean, who is not going to know a guy walking up to the gate with a Lucille bat with the goofy smile? Yeah. You're not going to know that.
Sure.
You're not going to just, common sense ain't going to click in and say that's Negan.
That's surely the they had to explain to them what happened, I would think, and about Negan and everything.
Yeah. So we go ahead.
Well, how about Carl? What did you think about Carl's reaction when he held the gun on one of the saviors when they were going through the houses, looking, taking the things that they wanted to take, and Carl kind of rebelled against them? Do you feel that was pretty reckless on Carl's part?
So I was thinking about that over and over. Where and why did Carl do this? If Carl knew they were outnumbered, where did this all happen? I had actually missed this part. I've been asked this like 4 or 5 times, and I missed the part where I even heard it on the Talking Dead, where Carl got in trouble at home too by pulling out a weapon. So why was that all about? What was that all about?
Well, I think Carl just is really mad about. I mean, he wants to, go challenge the saviors and go up against them, but he's probably lucky he didn't get killed.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Well, they're all lucky. All the ones that have survived so far are all lucky they didn't get killed.
Well, but the one that someone pointed out, if the saviors get most of their supplies and their food from these other colonies, they have to keep some of them alive, or else who would grow the food for them, and who would supply them with the things that they need. So they can't kill everybody.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as far as them keeping them alive, because he even made a point to him. He even made a point to Rick to where he said, "We're gonna let you keep your food so you could survive. We just want the weapon so you could survive and go out and get more stuff for us." So,
right.
So that is a big part of the show. So I think that played into it a little bit. Still, Carl, he's growing older now, and pretty soon he's gonna be he's at an age now where it's going to turn. He's going to start wanting to make some difficult decisions in his life. To where is he going to make the right decisions? Decisions. As far as I know from people I talk to in the comic book world, Carl's around forever till he's a grown man. So I think that even the decisions he's making now, even though they're a little off the wall as a character, I think that his survival will still be there. Because if he's going to be talking as an old man, talking back on his life, then obviously he made it through these little mistakes that he's made throughout the years.
I kind of think that Carl and Rick will be on the show until the end of the series. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that that they're the main stars of the show, and I kind of have a feeling that Rick may die, and then Carl take over as a leader as he gets older. But
in season 38, right?
What did you think when they showed Maggie's grave?
When they showed her what?
Did that scare you when they showed the tombstone in the graveyard? And they said they kind of said, well, they insinuated that Maggie didn't make it.
Wow.
But you knew, right, that she was okay, or were you a little afraid that maybe she really had died?
Well, the thing was, the odd thing about that is for them to do that is they did that after they released that. I guess they had killed everybody in the first episode, season 7, episode 1. So obviously that was kind of part of it all. I think that was kind of part of their whole little mind game thing, right?
Well, but I'm talking about we knew Maggie had taken off to go to the Hilltop colony, right?
Yeah.
But they kind of told Negan, they kind of insinuated that was her grave. And Negan was like, what happened to the sick lady? He said she didn't make it, and they, just kind of agreed with it. So we had some people in a chat when the show was going, and they were like, "Oh no, did Maggie die? Is Maggie dead?" I said, "No, they just don't want Negan to know the truth that she's still alive." Okay,
I see what you're saying. Saying. And I just I was just rewatching it again before the show had went any further. So real quick, we're gonna get Patrick on here in a second. Patrick, you almost about ready? But anyway, I do want to bring that up. There's two things I want to bring up real quick. He just had posted that the Father Gabriel thing when Negan turned around and he looked at him and he said, You scared the crap out of me with your thing around your thing around your neck, and I didn't mean to call it a collar, but that, and then also his funny grin, So that was a pretty hilarious scene there.
Yeah, it was.
How did you feel about it? Like as you were watching it, did you kind of giggle? Was it kind of goofy to you, or?
Oh, yeah, I thought it was funny. That was like the first person who actually kind of stunned Negan, I think. That, he could end up being the one that Negan's most afraid of. He doesn't seem to be afraid of anyone else.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny, and it was good to actually see Father Gabriel make an appearance. Because I don't believe we had seen him this season until this episode.
Yeah, the last time I really remember seeing him was when he took Judith and was saying, letting Rick know that he was going to take care of her, and make sure that she would be fine.